All right, so 4 lines into the second section, paragraph on page AyinBase 15. The line begins hatzimtzum. Oyer itself lifnei hatzimtzum has two madreges, two aspects in it. Etzem ha'oyer and hispashtos ha'oyer. Etzem ha'oyer, this is how the oyer relates to the atzmos. It's not an oyer that actually that can be effective in terms of the creation, in terms of outside. It represents the Yasmos, because Oyer Me'in HaMoyer, as we spoke many times. It is Oyer, but it remains completely associated and representative of Atzmos. Then there is Oyer, the Hispashtos Oyer. And in this Oyer there is a second Madrega, what's called Hispashtos Oyer. We already discussed this Inyan. Why is there Hispashtos Oyer and so forth? Now we'll go a little bit more into it. So he says that this Hispashtos Oyer, this is what's called Atzilus de Klolus. Atzilus on the klal level. The principle Atzilus of the klal level. Klal means that this is the Atzilus that permits that there be a creation. So the Klolus. He does not specify what the creation is. Does not even present a plan for the creation. But it has an overall presentation that creation and revelation is possible. This is what he's going to explain. V'neida, it is known the whole Yinyan hu Atzilus hu bechinas hagilui. That the Inyan, the whole Inyan, the whole significance and function of Atzilus, ho Atzilus, is bechinas hagilus, is the aspect of Gilui.
Which line are we on?
4 lines from the top of
Hatzimtzum
this.
hu bechinas hispashtos ha'or, etc.
No, 4 lines down. 4 lines. Can you count 4 lines?
Right. Okay, fine. Okay. But bechinas or in sof?
4 lines, my dear friend.
Yeah.
Reminder.
Oh, Venoda. Okay.
The whole Yinyan of Atzilus is bechinas hagilui. The Yinyan of Atzilus is the aspect of Gilui. What does this say? Bechinas hagilui. Atzilus means staying close by.
Yeah.
What then is the difference between Atzilus and that which is above Atzilus? What is the Inyan of Atzilus? It stays close by to the source. The Inyan of Atzilus is the bechinas hagilui, the aspect of Gilui. Gilui means it's the very same thing that preceded the Gilui. But Gilui is that same thing is now showing what its content is. So we have many showing for this. One very simple and most obvious one is, we pointed out that if you have a room and the room is completely empty, even if you know its dimensions, it doesn't impress you as being extremely large. It's empty. It doesn't tell you anything. As a result of that, your surmise of its size is very limited. If you begin to furnish it, the more it's furnished, even though now you've limited its available space, that's when the room all of a sudden becomes big. The reason for that is because the furnishing reveals what is contained in the room. Like this, on the general level, we don't see what it is about. When you begin to furnishing, then you begin to tell you, a room means that you have tables and chairs, and bookcases, and whatnot. The truth is that all the things that you put into a room in the proper way, the proper means that which belongs in the room, is all really revealing what the room is about. What is the room about? Four walls. The room is about to be used to provide the context, the wherewithal for all of these furnishings. So that reveals what is contained in the room. Why was the room built in the first place? What's the concept behind it? When you put the furnishings into the room, you have not changed the room a bit. Nothing. It's exactly the same thing. It actually reveals the reality of the room itself. What's revealing it? Now that it's revealing it, you can surmise, you can relate to the room from a seichel, from an outside perspective. The size of the room remains the same. But now it's begilui. Now you can understand it, you can know it.
You appreciate the space.
This is the inyan of Atzilus. Hu bechinas hagilui. Hu bechinas hagilui means this. Bechinas hagilui means precisely this. It is not intended, and it does not change. Thank you. It does not change anything. And on the contrary, the inyan of Atzilus is to reveal the original reality. Not to recreate it in a different form. This is bechinas hagilui. What is revealing? Can it possibly reveal everything that's potential in the room? No way. Can it possibly, so to speak, furnish the room to the point where, okay, you cannot imagine any other way to furnishing? There's no such thing. The overall possibilities are unlimited. And the Gilui shows that. Oh yeah, you can put a table here. Oh, maybe you can put it over here. Maybe you can put... There's no limit of the options. But it's a bechinas hagilui. Now you begin to understand what this is about. This what kol yinu Atzilus hu bechinas hagilui. Meaning to say, Atzilus is not a separate madrega, not a distant. It's close by, but it's the gilui element of the kesser. Okay, so therefore, ובבחינס אויר אינסוף שלפני hatzimtzum, in that bechina, in that level, from that perspective, אויר אינסוף שלפני hatzimtzum, whole bechines his pashtus oir. It is the aspect of his pashtus oir. Going back to our moshel of the room, we need a little bit of a kind of a projection. As we said, the room prior to furnishing is exactly the same room. On the contrary, the truth of the room is as it is without any furnishings. This is the, so to speak, the etzem ha'oir, as it is unto itself.
The truth of the room without any furnishings.
Without any furnishings. I'll explain in a moment, if you're with me. We spoke many times. Okay, clearly you'll understand that this is a physical moshel for something supreme, but nevertheless it's an appropriate moshel. As I said, everything Beruchnis has its is reflected in Gashmis, but we have to understand how to relate to it. A room is nothing but demarcation of existing space. It's exactly the same space I was saying before. Well, now it's demarcated. What is the point and what is the reason that you demarcate the space? What does that represent? I don't want to go too far. We're talking about the sky, so but in general, when you are outside of demarcating space, you can't really function properly with proper concentration. You're nowhere. It's in the same space, but you're not relating to the space at all. It doesn't give you anything. By demarcating, this is called the oir of the space. In other words, yes, there is space over here. Without demarcation, there's nothing there. Where am I going to put the table? Where am I going to sit down? Where am I going to stand? I feel I don't have a place standing any place. This is what's called atzilus per se. Again, this is the demarcating within the bigger reality, within our limited reality, the Ein Sof. But it's demarcating. Within that demarcation, there are two madrigas. There's the essential demarcation, and then there is the what's called hispashtos. What are you going to do with this demarcated space? If you demarcate a space, you meant something. It meant it for something. You demarcated a space. Is it a dining room, a living room, a bedroom? What is it? That aspect goes into the category of hispashtos. It's not really the space itself. It's how that demarcation is used from an outside perspective.
So just the demarcation itself is saying that is really kind of going on the etzem ha'or? Is the etzem ha'or? It's like the Russia for the etzem ha'or?
For argument's sake, right. We'll use that as etzem ha'or, because it is etzem ha'or.
Because it seems like I mean, I know there's a physical muscle, but it seems like when you demarcate the space, that is for the purpose, or that enables the human being to appreciate the space. So it also seems like a gilui.
No, not yet. Appreciating the space is when it is spashtus. Like I said, you go into you can't surmise what the room is, but it's a room. It's a room. It's a gilui. No, but it's not just plain nothingness.
It's a gilui.
It's a gilui. Let me explain what it means. Every last inch in the whole creation was created by God. Hashomayim b'haaretz. But when you look into this space without demarcation, you don't even recognize that there's a creator to this space. This is just nothingness. The absence of anything is space. That's the way you see it from a non-revealed level. It's not true. The demarcation says, no, this is intended space for use. It's for real. This is called oil.
So it's a gilui, but it's etzem of the gilui. It's the etzem hall.
Right.
It's a gilui, but it's
really a real food. It's meant for use.
The makim panam.
And then there is his spashus of it. Is how you use it. That's already that goes into that's in our moshe will be comparable to the union from the furnishing of the populating it. That's when you really begin to appreciate it. Although it is all constantly pointing to the real source and the reality. As I said many times, you stand outside of the house, you go inside. Have you changed realities? You're in the same reality. But now you relate to it with your seichel, whereas before you related to it, or you didn't relate to it. You didn't know what to appreciate. This is what the Gemara says. Called in Hatzilus b'chinas agilui. That's in Hatzilus b'chinas agilui. Or b'chinas oirin sof shelifnei hatzimtzum. Thus, this gilui element, the Atzilus element, the significance of Atzilus is a gilui. The Atzilus element in the Oirin Sof Shelifnei Hatzimtzum who bechinas his pashtus ha'oir. Is his pashtus ha'oir. That's the Atzilus. Because if it is the etzem ha'oir, it is not Atzilus yet. It's still part of the Ein Sof. Yeah.
Is this consistent with the marshal of the ore of the sun within the sun?
Yes. Excuse me. Okay, so now we are talking about the Yoyeshu Lifnei Hatzimtzum. The Yoyeshu Lifnei Hatzimtzum has an aspect that can be identified and called as Atzilus, which means it has an element of Gili. But what part of the Yoyeshu Lifnei Hatzimtzum is the element of Gili? This is his pashtus. Not the etzem ha'oir, but the hispashtus. And that is what's called atzilus the klolos. Hine klolos ha'oir hu bebchinas b'tzalmein. Right now we are 5 lines from the top, at the end of the line. Klolos ha'oir hu bibchinas b'tzalmeinu. The oir overall. You say klolos oir, we mean to say the oir in its essential truth, rather than the oir as it is functionally identified. So the oir in general is b'chinas, is in the category of tzalmeinu. Tzalmeinu means b'chinas tzura atzmis. It's a tzura, but it's a tzura atzmis. That is reflective of the yatz. And that in that tzura, that oil is a tzura atzmis, that applies even to the atzilus had the clothes. The hispashus oil. Klolos oil means oil overall. Atzim oil and hispashus oil. Is bechinas tzura atzmis. Again, I'd like to, our time is almost up anyway, I just want to, Klolus ho'er is bechinas tzura atzmis. Atzim oil and hispashus oil. To put it in our simple words, Atzmus, yes, as you said, is a truth that does not, is a motivation, is a truth that does not demand an explanation where it's coming from. It's emes amiti. Doesn't come from any place. Oir is a phenomenal, is a kind of an anomaly. It's present and it's not present. Oil also does not demand where it's coming from. Because oil is reflective of that truth of the Yatz. This is what people point out in terms of Atzilus, is like Chochmah, point all the time. This is something which is quite important to realize, at least to experience. In sight, we see things without any effort. Effortless. If you see something that's effortlessly, means that it is there whether you see it or not. Nothing has changed from before looking at it and after looking at it. It's not like touch. It makes me feel it. What is the message? What is the experience of that? That's why sight has this phenomenal effect. I have seen it. It's the truth. When you walk and you hit a table and say, I hit the table, that's a right that there is a table there. I saw the table. It's incongruous to say I saw it, therefore it's a right that it's there. If I saw it, it's not a right that is there. I saw it.
No, I'm sorry, I think I just lost. What are you pointing at? What are you pointing to?
Something that is a creation. You have to prove that it's there. Something that is there by inception. You don't have to prove that it's there. It doesn't need to be proved. Anything that needs to be proven is not the real truth. The halacha says that an edus, a witness, testifies to a certain occurrence. Apidin, the Torah says, no matter what it is, that establishes the truth. So the suggestion in certain circumstances, make the edus swear. So he wants to say, swear? It's not an edus anymore. If the edus needs a proof to substantiate his verity, it's not an edus. And edus is that there is this real human being, and he is transferring, he's bringing me the reality that he saw. Finished. That's an edus. This is why by Eidim, it's an interesting thing. By a bezin, there's a bezin. Normally, a bezin is made of an odd number of people. Why? Because to decide the question, you have to have a majority, and the majority rules. A bezin, the Sanhedrin had 71 members. 36 say one thing, 35 say one thing, and that becomes a majority rules. By Eidim, Trei Kimeyo. You have 2 witnesses saying one thing, and 100 witnesses say the opposite. They're of equal standing.
So this is the idea that the or is really just the yatzim.
The yatzim itself. Exactly.
It's amen. That's
right.
as real as the yatzim.
Huh?
It's as real as the
Yeah,
yatzim.
this is a real thing. This is the principle of tzura atzmis. It's telling you the reality. It's a tzura. It's telling you what happened, what I saw. That's a tzura atzmis. It is as true as the atzim itself. Okay, we interrupt now. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mikol